fantasy family? This is the Fantasy Action Podcast. We hope you had some good games over the weekend. And, if you had some bad ones, we're here to help, man. We're here to fix those mistakes. I'm your host, the frozen one, Victor Freeze, with my co-host.
Mari Mars. You know what it is.
The co-host with the most. We have a couple topics this week. We have Stardom Sit-em for week 2. And we have 1 week wonders and week 1 blunders. Okay, I always mess that up. I had to pause last year too when I did. But
we'll go a little in depth in detail before the segment actually starts. So yeah, let's kick it off, Vic.
we're gonna touch on our teams too a little bit.
Oh yeah,
at the end,
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
To end the segment.
Yeah, to end it all off, we're gonna touch on our teams in detail. But a cool week 1.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
Solid. I went 1-1, so I got 2 leagues. I'm rocking 2. I can't rock more than 2.
Yeah.
That's just me personally. I get 2.
There's
too much on my plate. You put it that way.
It does get hectic. I got 4 teams, and it's all over the place. I went 2-2, so we're basically the same result.
But look, I mean, if you put it as a gambler, as 1-1, I won 1, I lost 1, right? So right now I'm even. So I'll take it as a gambler. I mean, essentially that's what fantasy football is, right?
Yeah.
Gambling.
Mm-hmm,
So
in for that pot at the end of the season.
yeah, exactly. So we ready to kick it off, Vic?
Let's get rock and rolling, man. Week 1. Week 2, Stardom and Sit-em.
Yes,
You want
sir.
to kick it off, Mariano?
Yeah, why not? So for my first Stardom, I'm going Josh Allen. Now I tried to tell y'all.
He warned you. I was doubting him.
He was doubting me.
Hey.
I mean, Josh Allen had 9 rushing touchdowns last year. He had another 1 or 2 in the second game.
Yep.
All I do know is that he scored 32 points in my league, right? So again, this week, guess who he's playing? Miami, right? Another one of those teams that whoever your ballers are playing, you got to start them.
Yep.
So Josh Allen, number 1 for the starter.
This is definitely a good one. For my first Stardom, I have J.K. Dobbins over there on the Ravens. If you guys didn't know, Houston gave up the most rushing yards week 1 to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And also, J.K. Dobbins played more snaps than Mark Ingram, 23-21. And they used them more on the goal line.
Ooh, okay, so, breaking out the stats.
I'm pulling my Mariano out. I'm pulling my numbers out, sprinkling some numbers in there.
Like Salt Bae, boy.
But yeah, it looked good. Me and Mariano were expecting Mark Ingram to look old and J.K. Dobbins to take over, and it's looking good,
Absolutely. For my second Stardom, I got Tom Brady.
Ooh.
Good old Tampa Bay Brady. I do. Trust me. We got problems. Our relationship goes back very, very far. So the biggest reason why is I believe that in the first game in week 1 when they played the Buccaneers, there's still a little growing pains. I mean, he didn't have a full offseason, OTAs, preseason games. I know starters don't really play too much in preseason, but still. Mm-hmm. That's where you can kind of have the trials and tribulations and kind of correct it as you're going. The second thing is their matchup. They're playing Carolina, right?
Yeah.
I think Derek Carr could have threw the ball more times for more yards, but with Tom Brady, so much talent, I'd start him this week for sure.
Also, you had Josh Jacobs, 3 touchdowns. When you have that amazing man, you don't have to throw the ball already.
Thank you. That's right.
Going on to my next Stardom, I have that boy over there in New England, Julian Edelman. I don't like Julian Edelman for the season. I said that. I said it's N'Keal Harry season. However, Julian Edelman is playing the Falcons, and the Seahawks ran wild on them last week. They had 3 receivers with over 100 yards. He's Cam Newton's main target, so I think he should do decent against that defense over there.
Absolutely. Damn, that shit kicking in. For my third Stardom, I got Jimmy G. Let's show the Bay some love. Again, they're playing the Jets. And I'll just leave it at that. You know what I mean?
Who do they have on defense? Nobody.
Nobody.
But yeah,
Crickets.
Jets didn't look good. I'll add that in there. The effects don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jets were being Jets. Le'Veon Bell got hurt. It's just looking like a whole mess over there.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jet fans.
Sorry.
Moving on to my next stardom, I have Zach Moss, and we have a similar thing that Mariano's doing with the Dolphins. We love bagging on the Dolphins.
Absolutely.
And the Buffalo Bills made it a point to use him in the red zone. So, I'm looking for Zach Moss to have another good game against the Dolphins.
I like it. There you go. For my fourth one, I'm going John Brown. So in week 1, he scored 16 points. I think that Stephon Diggs still has to get acclimated in the offense, find his niche in the offense. But John Brown's been there doing it since last year.
Yes, sir.
So him and Josh Allen have a nice rapport going. I expect them to keep it going.
Man, I was looking at my list. I was looking at your list. We got hella Bills on our stuff. Do we? Yeah, look at this one too.
Oh shit! Hey, but again, we back at it.
Yeah, that's true.
We back at it.
Going on to my next stardom, I have another Brown for you, which is Malcolm Brown.
Ooh.
He's the most effective back in that backfield. I thought it was a Cam Akers show. I called it last week. I said start him, but no, start Malcolm Brown. Even with Cam Akers, he got the first string running back snaps, but Malcolm Brown was the most effective back over there.
Yeah, I agree. I put waivers in on him, so keep the fingers crossed. I'm like 8th. I'm 8th in both.
In both?
In
you checked
both.
the other one?
Yeah. In my ESPN and my Yahoo, I'm 8th. So fingers are crossed, but I don't think I'm
It's a tough position.
It's a very tough one. So last but not least, for the stardom, I got Raheem Moser. That boy balled out in week 1.
Caught straight bombs.
Yeah, so it worked out. They're playing the Jets. Again, the Jets have nobody. Yeah.
So, that's a good call. Moving on to defenses. Or speaking of defenses, I have the Buffalo Bills defense.
That's all we rocking.
Yeah.
Miami's boo-boo, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Browns only scored 6 points in week 1 against them, and Dolphins are going to be worse than the fucking Browns. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I personally want to see Tua in there. That's just me.
I would bring some life into that.
They need a spark. They need something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I guess
it up.
that wraps up the first segment of Stardom. The second segment is Sit 'em, right? And I'm going to onside kick this thing. All right? Sit 'em. Sit 'em. My first one is going to be Miles Sanders, right? So he's playing against the Rams this week. Eagles are playing the Rams. The Rams did a very good job of holding down one of the best backs in the league in week 1, right? So another thing is that Miles Sanders is also dealing with a hamstring injury. So
Yeah.
I'd stay away from Miles Sanders this week for sure.
All right, keeping it on the running backs, I am going to sit David Johnson this week against the Baltimore Ravens. He got off to a hot start. After that, faded out in the game. It is game script. However, I think it's going to be some of the same game script because, as we saw, the Dolphins have a good defense. They shut out Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's a good running back.
Right.
I'm going to see that it's going to continue to do the same thing this week. So, sit David Johnson.
Yeah, for my next one, dude's actually on TV.
Yeah. Shit, that was my next one too.
Is it? We got the same dude. It's Austin Eckler. The second running back behind him got hurt, and then Joshua Kelly stepped in. Justin Jackson got hurt. So Joshua Kelly stepped in, and he was balling out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I also put in a waiver for Joshua Kelly as well, just because one of my teams, I don't really have a strong flex. So if I could get a third running back kind of as a surprise, I think that could really help me in the long run of the season. Sit Austin Eckler.
Add on top of that, he did play 68% of the snaps. However, Kansas City contained David Johnson last week. That's who they got this week. We saw that. And then also, he's supposed to be the pass catching back, and he only got one passing target last week.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I really don't like that from him.
Yeah. Another thing too is that he only scored 9 points in a PPR league,
Yeah.
and that was against the sorry Bengals defense, right? So this week, sit that boy.
Yeah. Moving on to my number 3, I have Jordan Howard going up against the Bills. Common theme we love backing on the Dolphins. We should just rename this show the Anti-Dolphins Show.
Right.
On top of he's facing a good defense, he only got 9 snaps last week. He's 3rd in touches on his team. I really don't like that. He came in, he's listed as a starter on the depth chart, but that's not starting snaps for me.
No.
And Jordan Howard is the back that needs to get going too. He needs like 15 snaps to really do some damage. So I don't like Jordan Howard, even though I have him in 2 fucking leagues. But
I was right. He tried to trade him to me. Motherfucker.
I told you I have him in, but you needed a running back, bro. I told you I had him. I told you the options, bro.
I don't want no Josh Howard. I don't want no Miami Dolphin or whoever. Jordan Howard. Come on, man. Yeah. For my next one, this is tough, man, because I'm a Raider fan. You know what I mean?
You did it to us.
I did it to it.
Oh no! Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good call.
It's a good call. This week I'm sitting Henry Ruggs. I got him in both of my leagues. He looked great in the first half of the offense, but then I realized that John Gruden was just trying to feed him the ball too much and kind of just overdid it. That's my personal opinion. But from what we can see over the season, I think he's going to be a stellar flex. And the reason why is just because of how much he was getting targeted early in the game, right? If he didn't get hurt in the first half, it would have been probably a 10 catch game.
Yeah.
Or 7 to 10 catch
He missed some balls too, right?
Yeah. He had 5 targets and 3 catches. So that's the biggest thing. This week I'm sitting him, but we'll come back to him later in the season.
He'll be a starter later in the season.
Oh yeah. No doubt.
Going on to my next sit, I have Jamison Crowder. He had a big game last week, but he's facing the 49ers defense this week. Right. And we all know Jamison Crowder is not DeAndre Hopkins. I know D-Hop had a good game against a good defense, but that's why he's D-Hop, bro. Right. That's why they brought him in, bro. And Jamison Crowder's nowhere near on that level, so I don't think he has a good game this week.
Absolutely. Another thing, quick update. Michael Thomas is actually out. He's going to be out for the next few weeks, right? So this week, if you have him in your league, which I think he went like 6 overall in our league, right? Make sure that you find someone to plug in his place, right? Because that's when a lot of people get into troubles when they just like, oh shit, they completely
your
forgot.
number 1 pick is like,
yeah,
oh fuck, that's
exactly, right? So just be sure to make sure you swap him out with someone else, whoever you got on the bench.
You go next.
My next one is Sammy Watkins, right? They're playing the Chargers this week. Chargers look solid in week 1. It was against a rookie quarterback, but Joe Burrow is a beast.
Yep.
Right? So just to piggyback, he kind of did the same thing last year.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, so there's so many weapons on that offense that this week it might be Hill, next week it might be Kelsey, the next week it might be Edwards-Helaire. So it's just not consistent enough for me, especially this week against a solid Chargers defense, so I'm going to sit him.
Yeah, that's a good call. In my last sit-em, I have Gronkowski over there in Tampa Bay. He's rusty coming off not being in football for a year.
Right.
He had 1 target the whole game, or I believe 2. Low amount of targets.
Yeah.
He has to get back into the groove of things with Tom Brady and football.
Right.
I think that offense is going to be stellar, but like you were touching on earlier, they have to get into the groove of things and get to the click. And when he gets back to the click, probably week 4, Gronk will be like
back in football shape
Yeah.
and be able to kind of attack defenses like he was in New England.
That's my last sit-em.
Yeah, that's the last sentence too.
And on that note, that concludes
Episode 3.
our third episode of the Fantasy Extras podcast, you guys.
They're flying by, man.
Man, they're going by. The weeks, the season's going by pretty fast.
So enjoy every minute of it. This
Exactly.
is the best time of year. I don't care what people say about Christmas, football season.
Exactly.
It's the best time of year.
What did Coach Mustard
right?
used to say? Football comes second. School comes first.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, man. Thank you guys for keeping our page busy, asking us all these questions, subscribers going up each week. I love to see that. On a side note, on the questions, as we spoke earlier, we're not going to get everything right. I just want to let you guys know that.
Right.
But, we take accountability when we do get shit wrong. And I made some pretty good calls last week. Mariano made some pretty good calls. I think we have more good calls than bad calls outweighed.
Right.
Just even on the NFL channel, we saw they were making some crazy calls and stuff like, bro.
Yeah.
So, like, we don't make crazy calls, but they were saying some wild stuff on there.
Wild stuff.
But yeah, just keep that in mind. It was funny. I showed Mariano, had couple people DM us, fuck you, or yeah, I just send them back laughing emojis, man. You can't get every pick right.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
be honest, man.
That's why it's fantasy. It's not. It's not doable.
Yeah, but we do the research and we try our best, man, and we get a lot of stuff right. To be honest with you guys. But once again, thank you guys for trusting in us and coming to us, and even sometimes we fuck up and you guys still come back to us, and thank you guys.
We call it growing pains, man.
Exactly.
Let's grow together.
Exactly. But definitely that's all we got for this week. This is the Fantasy Experts signing out.
Laters.